Morning, everybody. Glad you could join me for coffee again today. Must be Monday. I hope you had a nice weekend and a good week. Shout out to our retired Vincentians in Perryville, Missouri. And also a shout out to some people in need of healing, asking for our prayers. And I remember Jack and Kathy and Elsie and Mary. Pray that God brings them healing. So here's the word on my mind, okay? To celebrate. I know that's a tough word these days, but yeah, celebrate. Now, the dictionary says celebrate means to mark a day or an event with some enjoyable activity. And so, with that in mind, you could celebrate almost anything and everything. I mean, you could celebrate fixing a broken TV. Or how about this? I got to tell you about Jean. Jean can't see without her glasses. She can't. She's getting older. We all have things as we get a little older. But she needs her glasses, and sure enough, she was out somewhere and she left her glasses. And so the next morning, she was celebrating. She was telling all her friends she was celebrating. And they said, you need your glasses and you left them and you're celebrating. Yeah, I'm celebrating because I remember where I left them. That's the reason to celebrate. But this week is a week of celebrations. I mean, yesterday, you may have celebrated a box of chocolates or a bouquet of flowers or a nice dinner because you were somebody's Valentine. Today, we celebrate and remember presidents, especially Washington and Lincoln. And we celebrate, they were two presidents who put country first instead of themselves. And so it's worth celebrating. How about tomorrow? Tomorrow, Mardi Gras. The word translated from French is Fat Tuesday. It used to be known as Shrove Tuesday. In Europe, Shrove came from a word shriv, and it was to denote going to the priest and making a confession. Well, as you all know, Mardi Gras is the day before we begin Lent. And even in the celebration of Mardi Gras, the tradition has always been that people ate up all the stuff that they weren't going to be able to eat during Lent. So it became this night of celebration. I find it interesting, in this country, New Orleans is the city of Mardi Gras. And they have three colors, all the beads and everything, and the colors of the floats, and the colors are three. There's purple, there's gold, and there's green. Each of them stand for something. Gold stands for power, and purple stands for justice. Green is interesting. It stands for faith. And obviously, for us who believe and have this wonderful gift of faith, we look at Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday or whatever, as the day before we begin a very special celebration, Ash Wednesday, beginning of a special time in the church. It remembers Jesus spent 40 days in the desert preparing for his wonderful celebration of Easter. He spent 40 days and then he celebrated coming into Jerusalem, and they hailed him as king on Palm Sunday. This year, Ash Wednesday may be a little different. You won't see a lot of people with the cross on their forehead. The Vatican has said, in light of the pandemic and protocol, ashes would be sprinkled on your head. And that's something that still reminds us of a special time, maybe a time of penance, maybe a time of sacrifice, maybe a time of doing something special so that we can get ready for a big celebration, the celebration of Easter, remembrance of resurrection. And it's at the heart of our faith. So this Lent, I hope it's one that you're able to do something very special. And now you can celebrate by doing something different. I used to give something up, like that would be the sacrifice. And then, like my brother always says, he did too, but then people knew what it was, and it was no longer that something special because everybody knew. So I got an idea for you for this Lent. It's almost 6 weeks, so it's a long time. How about doing something different every week so that the 40 days aren't just like Jesus' prayer and fasting, but each week you do something different. Or maybe that's the week you're gonna give some money to the food pantry, take care of the homeless. Maybe it's a week where I'm gonna do some extra praying. I'll say an extra rosary every day. Or maybe I might just find a book to read, but a book that is spiritual. Anyway, to make Lent something that goes on each week, and it's different. And yet we're always keeping our eye on the prize. That's the celebration of Easter. If you make Lent special, then Easter's special, because that's why you're doing it. So I hope you have a wonderful Lent. I hope you find a way to let God know that he makes a difference, and so that we can always appreciate the gift of his Son's suffering and death and resurrection. So anyway, we always end our time praying together, and I'd like to pray today that everybody can get the vaccine. And that's be my prayers today. And so if you would join me in getting your holy card, we'll pray for miracles. Divine Savior, transform me into yourself. May my hands be your hands. May my tongue be your tongue. Grant that every faculty of my body may serve only to glorify you. Above all, transform my soul and all its powers, that my memory, my will, and my affections may be the memory, the will, and the affections of you. I pray you to destroy in me all that is not of you. Grant that I may live but in you, and by you, and for you, and that I may truly say with St. Paul, I live now, not I, but Christ lives in me. God bless. Hope to see you again next week. Don't forget to check our website out, because there are reflections during the week on vpmc.org.